Hello, welcome to our office. We meet with people on Zoom in here when we meet with our students or our missionaries when we can't be on campus. Post-COVID, we did a lot of stuff online, so we thought we'd show you one of those spaces that we do ministry here. We've got a whole bunch of stuff that we want to tell you about today, so we're not going to have a lot of time to talk about each element, but feel free to contact us if you want more information. First thing that's been going on, we told you about buying an investment property. So we bought an investment property that we wanted to rent out, which is now complete. It took us about 3.5 months. And
like 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, we got it in on time and on budget, which was very good. So we're really happy with that. Griffith is in exams and UQ's finishing up. They got their last week on campus this next week as we're sending this out. And we're in the middle of doing our last minute exams and assignments for Bible College as well. So there's heaps on for us, and there's been heaps on. So it's been a really tiring year, but a really good year, we think, for ministry. And so the next major thing coming up is summer missions.
So we are going on the Philippines medical mission. This will be our first time going on this mission. So we're really excited to see what it's like. We've got little bits and pieces that we need to do to prepare for it, but we're not organising it. We are just part of the team who will be going along with it on the ground. I have some pieces to do in terms of supervising the students who will be running the children's ministry and maybe some things around vision screenings or hearing screenings, but we don't really know a lot of information yet. It's all a bit up in the air. There are some things that will definitely happen in terms of we will definitely go to 8 different villages and have the medical tent set up and share about Jesus while we're there. But we don't know how that plays out. We're hoping that the Filipinos on the ground have a bit more of an idea, but we're just going to go with the flow and we'll let you know what happens once we get back from the trip. We're actually looking for a little bit more funding towards this. We've got $5,000 left to raise so that we can go on this. So we're still getting more money in for it, and we're really grateful for those of you who have already partnered with us for this. Since our last video, we had a few very generous donations, so thank you to those partners.
It's probably worth noting that while Jess and I don't specifically know what we'll be doing, Gain does, and they're directing this, so I'm sure it will work out really well. One of the other major things that we've just come back from, at the start of the year, Queensland leadership team identified that seeing more missionaries join us was one of the key priorities that we had this year. And so we've been coming up with lots of different ways to try and bring more people onto our team. And so one of the things that my team came up with was, let's do a recruitment event where we take a handful of students away on work experience and help them to sort of get to go to a few different ministries and do ministry on campus, do some leadership development, and have lots of space to think about missions and ask lots of questions of the missionaries. And that was incredibly successful. It was a great experiment for us, and it worked really well. So it took a lot of effort for us to get there, but we thoroughly enjoyed it, and we were really happy to help the students engage in that space. Please pray that we would see some of them join us.
And we're hoping that they'll be listening to God with wherever He directs them, and this will be a really useful space for them to have processed that. Something that I have done recently is a little bit of professional development. So I went along to the Global Leadership Summit, which is just a day of leadership input. And there were lots of gleanings I got from that. But one really interesting statistic that I got out of the day was from the National Director for Alpha. She mentioned or cited a recent study that they'd done in Australia, saying that prior to COVID, Aussies needed to have about 6 to 8 connections with the gospel before they'd respond to it. But now they need 10 to 12 connections with the gospel post-COVID before they'll respond to Jesus. And I thought, wow, that is so true of the context that I'm experiencing at Griffith and that Nick is experiencing at Griffith and UQ. It just feels like it's a lot slower for us to get engagement from non-Christians. And it reminds me of a girl that I met a few weeks ago. She said to me, I think I'm a part-time Christian. And I hadn't really heard much of that before. Sometimes people say, oh yeah, I'm a little bit Christian, but this part-time mentality was new and interesting. So it was good to sit with her and unpack what that meant, but then also explain to her that Jesus doesn't want just part of her time. He wants all of her life and all of her heart, and inform her that this is a whole life decision, so that she can make a bit more of an informed choice there. So I thought about it as we were just moving her one step of the clock face around a little bit more. She'd already had lots of connections with Christianity beforehand, but this is just another step pushing her towards Jesus in that clock face of faith.
On some personal news, Jess and I started moving churches the end of last year, and we've been really settling into a new one, New Heart Baptist at Balmoral. So a great little, tiny community of people who are passionate about missions, and we're really enjoying the sort of community feel there, really family feel. It's been a great space for us. So we've enjoyed getting to know people there, and we're looking forward to continuing to build relationships.
Yeah. And I have a new occupational therapy job. So a lot of you would know that I work part-time with Power to Change and part-time as an occupational therapist. So I've moved from a general private practice to work with Vision Australia now. So I work with children that have blindness and low vision. And I'm pretty new in the role, but I'm really enjoying it so far. That's all from us today. Let us know if you've got any prayer requests. We love to hear from you guys. Until next time.